So today's lesson, we will talk about SAP 3-tier architecture. We'll go through that very quickly, and then we will go through the details of how to log in into an SAP system. Because I can't just log in into SAP system, right? I have to install a software in my computer. Then I have to give certain information to log in into the SAP system. Then we'll talk about the credentials. So like after I connect to the SAP system, how will I log in into the system? So that is my user credentials. You all know about 3-tier architecture, some of you, most of you, but some of you don't know. So I have to just go through this a little. Then I will go through what is host name, what is system number, what is SID a little. And then we'll talk about client credentials, how to log in into the SAP system. Then after that, so when you log in into the SAP system, that is called authentication, right? Authentication means you will be approved to go into the SAP system. It doesn't mean you can do everything in the system. You will have some limitations based on what authorization you have. So that is authorization. So we'll talk about authorization, just brief idea about all these topics, right? Then we'll talk about what is authorization object class, what is authorization object, what is a profile or what is a role, what is composite profile or composite role or composite profiles for roles, and how to map users to roles. We'll go through this slide again. When we go through the topics, we'll go through the slide again, right? Then we'll go into little details of what is activity, right? So if I give, it's like this, say, I authenticated to an SAP system. So like somebody came into this office. So anybody is allowed to come into this office. That is authentication, because he's authenticating as public, right? So after he comes, what he can do or what she can do is depends on the authorization the person has. So a person came in, can he just sit down in front of the computer and start the computer and start using the computer, save his document? No. So maybe we'll allow him an authorization. Okay, you come to the office. You can use the computer, but you can't save any document. You can't use internet like that. We can give restrictions. So those are authorizations, right? So in SAP, if you are giving authorization, you have to give authorization to an object. In this example, computer is an object. So to that object, what authorization am I giving? That authorization is called activity. So we have activities like, for this example, activities like change, display, print, lock, delete. The activities varies from object to object. In the case of computer, I can say, you can start the computer, you can stop the computer, you can save your document, you can go to internet. So likewise, depending on the object, you have various activities. So we can give some people display activity. So for some roles, we can give display activities. For some, we can give change activity. For some, delete activity, like that. So activities can be changed. Then I said authorization object class. So we have object classes. Anything starting with BC are related to basis administration. So likewise, we have for finance, we have for procurement, we have for SD, like authorization object classes. Then under the object class, we have the authorization objects. So under this class, we have the authorization objects. So we will talk about that a little, okay? Today is like a brief introduction to main topics. Apart from this, we have other topics also later, but this is a basic introduction to the topics we are going to do within the next 2-3 classes. Then we learn how to create users. So what command do you use, how to create users, what are the things you can do in that particular screen, right, in that command. Then how to create roles, right. So if you are in level 2, you follow the instructions from the person who has designed the role. So he will say, okay, give this, give this, give this, give this. So you give this and then define the role, right. Then how to map users to roles. In an organization, we don't assign any authorizations to users directly. We have to assign authorization to the roles, then assign the roles to users or map the roles to users. That is easy for us. So this is what we do. So if you take an object class has a lot of objects, authorization objects. So in our example, a person walks into the office. So object class is all the objects in our office, UinPro office. So under UinPro office, we have reception area, computer room, like that, different areas. So what authorization these people will have? So these are the authorizations, right? So we put all these authorizations into a profile, okay? Then we do that in the role. So all these authorizations are put into a role, right? Then we assign users or map users to these roles. So this is the procedure. So as a level 2 security administrator, this is what you do, right? Apart from this, there are a lot of troubleshooting things involved in the process. So you have to find out, okay, what users have T codes which are there, like risky, right? Which can cause problems. Those type of things you have to analyze. So that also could be part of your job. And even if you are in level 2, you will be paid a salary between $75 an hour to $110 an hour, depending on your experience. So this is also a well-paying job. Then I also, as I told you, I prepare you for the real-time environment. So I will show you a lot of documents, and also I want to do this course in a 3-system landscape, so that when you go to office, you don't make mistakes, right? So you always follow the same way what I do in the class, right? Sometimes if you make mistakes twice, thrice, then people will know that you are not worked before anywhere, right? So that I will guide you how to avoid making mistakes, so that you don't show that you don't have experience, right? You may know the course, but if you don't know how to do things in the way the business requires you to do, then you will get caught. Your experience immediately will get caught. In security, everything is straightforward, right? Yeah. Then we will introduce little solution manager and also little HPQC, because when we make any changes in the role after it's in production, we have to do that through solution manager, through system landscape developed in solution manager, that is called change request management, or you have to do it through HPQC. Some people use solution manager, some people use HPQC, quality center, for change request management. Then what documentations, how to get approvals, okay? Those type of things you will learn. That is during the course, entire course you will learn this. And also what are the methods available to control the access, and how do you find out who is accessing what is accessing, what he is doing, how to prevent that, how to monitor his activities, how to audit those things, okay, you will learn. So I log in into the same system. I log in as a user called IZTom. IZTom was just created. I just created a user called IZTom. He doesn't have any authorization. He can just enter into the system. That's all. Okay. I didn't give him any authorization. So I gave him a password. Also, I logged in first time and I changed his password. So I logged in as IZTom. As usual, if I don't do anything, I will see two menu items. One is SAP menu. If a user has authorization, if a user doesn't have any menu, I can't go here. He doesn't have any menu, right? I didn't assign him to any roles. Yeah, default it comes up, right? So we see SAP menu here. Then we will see logistics, material management, all those things are there. Pardon? No. These are applications running on the server, right? So now he like to try to create a purchase order. He said, oh, I have access to all of them. So one person came into the office, public came into the office, is trying to use the computer, right? So authentication is done already because that person is allowed to come. Here also the user is created. Now he's trying to do something. So now authorization is checked. So at the bottom it says, you are not authorized. You are not authorized. You are not authorized to do this transaction. So this is called authorization. So what is computer doing? What's happening? So when he logs in, when he try to execute a command, computer is checking whether he has right to execute a command. That is first check. Is he allowed to execute a command? That is called ST code object. So ST code object, does he have authorization? Yes or no? In this case, no. Immediately no also. He can't even execute a command, right? Then if it is allowed to execute that command, then it will go and check. When I execute ME22N, that is change purchase order, what are the authorization objects accessed? What authorization objects are accessed? Yeah.
So whenever a authorization is tried,
yeah.
for each authorization there is a transaction code. We have to know that ME22N, what does it mean?
Okay, so there's a question one person is asking whether a person should know transaction code to execute a particular activity, right? Now, for example, I can execute activities. So I have to log in as a different user. I will log in as Don. So I'm executing a call SM04. SM04 is a T code. It's a command, transaction code. If I don't want to do that, I can go to tools, okay? Tools, administration, monitor. Okay, in our case, if I find difficult to search here, I have a shortcut. I want to find out where is SM04 under this, okay? So what I do is I type a command called search underscore SAP underscore menu. So I'm telling the system to search SAP menu. Then it will ask me what is the T code you want to search for. Then enter. So I want to search for a T code called SM04.
What do you call this? T code?
T code, transaction code. Yeah. So when I enter there, then it will give various options. So I take the shortest cut. So out of all these things, the shortest cut is tools, administration, monitor, system monitoring. Okay. This is the way I can go and see that. So I will come here. I'll open another session. So I go to tools, administration, monitor, system monitoring. Tools, administration, monitor, system monitoring. So I saw SM04. Okay. So if I want to execute this T code, I have to go through all these menu items and then double click on that. But it's a shortcut. I can go here and then type SM04. I can type there SM04. Then I do that. I do the same. I get the same results, right? So in security, we have only few T codes. So we don't have to go through this screen every time, right? What I can do is, if I cannot remember the T codes, I will create my favorites. So I can start creating my favorites here. I don't want this, delete it. So right click on this, insert transaction. We are